This is Smarter San Diego TV.
You know, millennials and baby boomers alike, they want to be in urban environments right now.
Thank God for the Electoral College vote.
In a 4-hour breakfast, we raised $9,000. So that's something that we take pretty seriously.
And you can't diet your way into being lean and fit. They go together.
In New York City, deciding what's best for the rest of the freaking country.
This is not a market built on a stack of cards. It's a solid foundation.
0%. That is a thumbs up.
Everyone has a life worth telling a story about. And the more adversity that you faced, the deeper your story.
Well, am I going to be okay in it? Like, am I going to be able to walk?
There's just so much creativity in this town that it's hard to hide it.
Well, you have these beliefs, well, what do you do with it?
We have another Win This Listing winner joining us with their homeowner, here to tell you all about the lost episode. Please welcome Bryan Devore and Feeby Wooden.
All right, well, here we are.
Here we
to
are.
Talk about the lost episode.
That's right.
Number 4, Mr. Carlsbad is here, and Feeby Wooden, thank you so much for coming in today.
Absolutely, it's a pleasure.
Yes,
Thank you.
fantastic
Thank
to see
you.
you again.
Thank you.
I feel like it's been a long time.
I know.
It has been, yeah.
It was.
In September.
Yeah,
September.
It was last summer.
Wow, wow.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time. Unfortunately, we were unable to maintain everything we needed to fully produce the episode, episode 4, but we tried to pay it a little homage.
Exactly.
We put together what we could.
A montage.
A montage, if you will. So it's on the website, winthislisting.com. I see you brought a little keepsake.
Yes.
Phoebe. What is that there exactly?
This is the final card that was kept with the final winner. And a smiley face. Da, 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 da.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was great.
So should we reenact that since we didn't get to play that scene?
Yeah.
we could reenact it here.
Gotta have the dramatic pause. And the winner is nervous.
I'm sorry, Bryan, you won this listing.
Yay, again.
So,
and then you have this picture of me
Deja
jumping
vu.
off of into the sandbox.
yes, we did make you jump.
Yeah.
And we did fit that in.
Yeah, you managed to get that one in. Right.
So it's great to have you guys here because, you know, it stinks. I feel like we had a good episode. There was some really fun stuff that we did in the living room. Unfortunately, that didn't work out either.
Right.
You know, that's how finicky these things are these days. I mean, the audio is just on a card this big. You know, the whole thing, the whole day is just right on it's on a card this big. So if anything goes wrong with that thing, you know, there's not much you can do about it. But we had a lot of fun. I think it's great that you came up with the idea to bring Feeby on and kind of rekindle the whole idea. And you know, let's make the most of what was a really fun, entertaining episode. We had Sinead McAllister on the show as well. Steve Pletz was on the show. Phoebe,
his broken arm.
Yeah.
He had just broken his arm, so he was doing this thing with his cast.
I told him you wear this to all your listing
Yeah,
presentations.
exactly. Feel bad for me, please.
Like empathy.
Yeah, I would do that. So
I have bills to pay. My 8 kids need their food, so.
and I have all these doctor bills.
Right.
So your husband was obviously there the whole day.
Yes.
Tim was there, and you guys were making these decisions together. But do you remember kind of what you were going through and like what you were thinking after you met everyone for the first time? And you know, did you have any conflicts there about who to pick?
I think right off the top, like we had like a positive vibe from the guys, and you know, just the way that they kind of the dialogue, the way that they held themselves, the information that we were provided, it just was very comfortable. And of course, but it was between Bryan and Steve, and that's what I told him. You were the snappier and the most wittiest that early in the morning. So
I was the most chipper at that time of day.
That's the one you over?
Yeah, right.
That was the deciding factor. No,
nothing to do with the marketing, nothing to do with the the ability to negotiate contracts. It was my personality.
It was just being. I mean, we were in a place where we were trying to sell the house quickly and trying to get into the new house, and we were on a time limit, and Bryan was just so on it and had all of the resources, and I mean, he sold it really well. I mean,
what happened there? Tell us.
Yeah, so we had multiple offers within the first week, and a couple really good offers. wound up selling it to a wonderful family.
Yeah.
I think they're enjoying the home now. Got a great price, and it closed, pretty quickly. So I mean, everything happened like clockwork.
Okay, so no buyers fell out of escrow or nothing like that took place. Just kind of went right through.
Yeah, it was very clean.
Okay, cool. And how much did we get for the home ultimately?
Boy, I'm trying to remember now.
So we had listed it for $435.
Right.
And then we gave $4,500 credit.
Right.
And so it, was
$430.
Yeah, $430.
Exactly.
$430.
We had she had solar that we had to sort of negotiate through, the transfer and so forth.
Gotcha.
But for the most part, yeah, it was very clean. We priced it right.
Yeah.
My kids actually helped me. They came with me when I drove around to look at the comparables that were in the neighborhood. My kids were with me, and they'd give me, what about this, and what about this part of this house? So I'm teaching them, to get involved in the business.
Are you teaching them, or are they teaching you?
A little bit of both.
Yeah,
a little bit of both. I'm just driving them. They're pointing the stuff out, but it helped. I mean, their eyes were great. I mean, they're not 3 and 4, so they are 15 and 16. They do have, some ability. But I felt that we were really prepared with all the information, so that when we put on the market at that price, we priced it aggressively. But correctly, and the market responded.
Yeah, and you got the solar taken care of, which is obviously something you always want to make sure you do.
Yeah.
Right.
When you move on, you don't want to leave any of those loose ends behind. And then where did you end up?
We ended up in a wonderful place in Vista, which is almost technically the other side of that mountain, is where we are.
Yeah.
Just on, a couple miles down. Yeah. Couple miles down on the 76 from where we were, and yeah, it's been great.
You feel like you found your forever home?
Well, forever is a really hard thing to like. I'm like for now, and hopefully for a long time. But yeah, I'm very bad at this whole forever thing. That's like a long-term commitment.
Don't tell Tim
there's that. Yeah, like I'm like, you just passed the radar, man. Like, so yeah, it's a wonderful home. It's in a very nice area, and we get
great for the kids.
Yeah, great for the kids. We've got fruit trees and a chicken coop, and we haven't gotten the chickens yet. I mean, we're in the process, but it's been a lot. Yeah, I know. I heard chickens can be really feisty, so
really? For sure.
Yeah. So I have to take my time.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, they have personalities.
Yeah, they're feisty.
No kidding.
I saw one on America's Got Talent that plays the piano, by the way. Did you see that?
Are you going to train yours?
Yeah, right.
I'm pretty sure something? No. I don't, yeah.
But they could watch the kids for you when you go out to dinner.
Absolutely. That's perfect. That's the kind of chick that can
right.
do it all.
Right, exactly.
The missed scene, and the thing that really is a shame, because I had a A+ for performance.
Yeah, you were falling apart really well.
We had it. It was great. I was on the couch. She was consoling me.
I don't
the trials and tribulations. You weren't there.
I wasn't there at the time. That's right. I was outside.
We were shooting it for fun and as a way to sort of tie in what you and Tim do. Into the show.
Right.
Well, let's clarify what we do first, because we're consoling you on the show, and both of us doing it. We're both psychologists, so.
Right. So that was okay.
And sort of a tie-in.
Yeah. Right.
Right. It was designed to be fun. And it was an impromptu deal, but I had to cry, and I had to build up to it.
Yes.
So I had to build up to.
Were you able to cry?
And I think I sold it pretty well. I can't really actually get tears on demand, but I think I sold the emotion pretty well. And it's hard to say because the audio that we had was from the camera, so it was very distant, so you didn't quite get all the. From it, but what we do have of it was pretty good.
Yeah, your performance was stellar.
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
All right, good.
So it's a shame
Academy
that
Award.
couldn't make it in. Yeah, if we had something to audio over it, then I could have B-rolled it for the
that would have been fun.
Trailer, but I just didn't quite have it.
Got it.
Yeah. Okay. So, but it was a great time. It was a great show. It should have been amazing. Phoebe, thank you so much for you and Tim giving us the opportunity to come.
It was wonderful. We got
to try to make an episode. We did our best.
Yeah.
And now we just have to make the most.
That's right.
That's all we could do.
Yeah.
Show up and do your best, right?
That's right. That's all we can do. And Mr. Carlsbad, Brian, thank you for doing such a great job on the show.
My pleasure.
Really appreciate it.
I was glad I was able to help them transition into the new stage of their life.
Fantastic stuff. Thank you so much for being here.
And given, So I'm like, what? You're done?
No, I was going to let you. If you have some, you want to close it?
I don't know. What do I do?
Stick around for more Smarter San Diego TV, where we guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else. Commercial free.
What are the biggest mistakes buyers are making? Our next guest is here to let you know how to avoid them. Please welcome the owner of the Avenue Home Collective, Melissa Sofia.
Welcome back to the show. Melissa Sofia is here.
Hello, hello.
All right. How you doing?
I'm awesome. Thanks for having me back.
Great to have you here. Melissa, I got to ask you this point blank.
Okay.
Because we've gotten to a certain point here in this marketplace where it's gone a little cuckoo on one side.
Yeah.
However, in a couple pockets, I'm starting to see price reductions and stuff like that, so I'm starting to go, Still, that said, even more so, the question, should buyers even be looking to buy in this market? I mean, has it been exhausted? Should they just say, you know what, I'm going to take a step to the left for a year and see what happens?
You know, this is a question I get literally every day. Is it the best time to buy right now? No. You know, the best time to buy is always when it's the worst time to sell. And we all know that that's not necessarily right now. But is it still a good time to buy even though the market is so competitive? Even though I would have been here, I wouldn't have expected to see myself saying this like a year ago. Signs are still pointing to yes. And I mean, just in June of this year, well, it is June of this year, just a few days ago, it was released that we are the 6th highest paying rent city in the nation. I mean, that's nuts. We're up there with San Francisco, LA, New York. You know, that plus if you look at, MSN Money just came out with a report that said, you know, our California average rent is $2,400 a month, while our average mortgage payment is $2,200 a month.
And see, where do they even get those numbers, by the way? Because I don't know anyone who's paying that little. Like, who's paying $2,200 for a
average?
Still, that means there's people
Out
paying
there,
less than that.
oh,
Like,
yeah,
they're like, oh, the average 2-bedroom or the average 3-bedroom is $2,300. It's like, show me a 3-bedroom for $2,300. Someone.
In our San Diego and our Southern California bubble, we obviously are going to be on the high end of those averages, but. You know, this is an average for California, and I mean, when it comes down to it, it's true. There are still places where, you know, buyers will tell you it's absolutely insane for me to try to go and rent a place. What I can get for the money is sad. And, you know, not only that, they're looking at, well, at least if I buy, you know, I'm making this money and putting it towards my own investment rather than, you know, profiting someone else. And I think that is a big thing. You know, there's also things like tax benefits and you know, other considerations that buyers are taking in. But, you know, that, taking in consideration that a lot of people are looking at either renting or buying, plus, you know, we know that the interest rate is going to still continue to rise over the next year. So if you are planning on buying within the next year or so, you know, it's most likely going to be more expensive for you to do so as far as the interest rate. So that's always something to consider. And then, you know, another indicator is new home prices. So new home prices, they tend to help us determine what the values are for resale homes. And if you look at new homes, you know, those prices are still going up. And a lot of the reason is there's labor costs are rising. There's a lot of issues when it comes to that. And there's still a booming new construction industry right now. In San Diego, you can see new construction developments going up all over. Escondido, all over South County, San Marcos, Carlsbad.
Tons of multifamily, too.
Tons of multifamily. So, you know, these indicators are a little bit different than what we saw before the crash last time. So,
and I'm not saying there's going to be a crash.
Right, right.
And it's
we
true.
have a lot of things in place now that weren't in place before that are going to, you know, help us prevent that same bubble from happening. Of course, predictions are predictions, and I mean, it's dumb for us to try to even guess exactly what's going to happen, but we've never seen an economic period of recovery this long, like in a cycle. This is pretty nuts. So it's one of those things like, you know, they say play with the devil you do know rather than the devil you don't. And it's a personal thing. So if you can find a home that you want to be in for quite some time, and if you can afford the payment, you know, a lot of people, they can't wait an unforeseen amount of time for a market to adjust lower to an unforeseen amount of value. And looking at that and expensive rents, buying may be the best option for them.
The thing that's funny is that, and I have said that I feel like the market's frothy at least, or that we should be
frothy.
We should be on the lookout. Like we should be paying attention because in the past, what really caused the crash was that people were saying that can't happen.
Exactly.
They weren't paying attention.
People
they were
are a lot more
ignoring
cautious
things.
now.
That's a good thing.
Yes.
That's my whole mission with that is that. But the truth is, the best time to buy anything was always in the past.
Right.
Like, you know,
hindsight's 20/20.
There's no matter what it is, you know. I mean, I don't care if it's stocks, blah blah blah. I mean, if I would have just not sold all the stocks I bought in my life,
right,
wouldn't be here right now.
Literally,
seriously,
be like on a beach in Hawaii somewhere.
Be gone.
Or if you would have
just
bought
Facebook alone.
Or if you would have bought, you know, my husband always says, you know, remember ebooks? Remember when we wanted to invent ebooks? I was like, yeah, that would have been great. If you did that, you'd be like a billionaire right now. You know,
the best time to get in is always in the past. So that's the hard part about really any investment is you can always look at it and go, well, gosh, there was a better time.
Absolutely.
And I get that. I think the competitive elements are the part that's frustrating people.
Exactly.
That's sort of the first step in what's causing people to go, you know what? I can't tell you how many people right now just said, I'm out.
See, I think a lot of it has to do, number one, with the agent that you have behind you. And I know, obviously, people are going to say, well, she's a real estate agent. Of course she's saying that. Choose her. But it's absolutely true. In a competitive market, it is paramount to have a great agent next to you. You know, you are competing against multiple offers. You're competing against other buyers who have maybe been in it a little bit longer and they're a little more burned by the market. They're ready to put better offers down than you. You have to be creative. You have to be aggressive. And you have to make sure you're not committing. We're going to talk about, you know, the biggest mistakes that buyers are committing right now. And
Tell me, what's the biggest one?
Well, absolutely. One of the biggest mistakes buyers are making right now are, I mean, first of all, you got to, don't put the cart before the horse. So you have to make sure your financial house is in order. And what I mean by that is if you are struggling with your monthly payments already, if you have a ton of debt, you know, it's probably not the best time for you to buy right now. If you have a hold, if you're on top of your monthly expenses and you're still able to put away a little bit of money every month, you may be in a good position to go ahead and take on a mortgage loan. So, you know, definitely look at that, number one. You know, in a market like this, you have to be sure that you're in the right place to buy. Number two, make sure that you're buying not for the short term, but that you are able to withstand any dips in the market. If there's anything we learned from the last market, it's that people were overconfident about what was going to happen in the near future. They were buying at these very high prices and they were paying these
crazy fees.
Crazy fees.
Terrible
loans. They were doing
loans.
adjustable rate mortgages, and they were like, well, you know what? I'm just going to refinance in 2 years. They didn't know that the bottom was going to completely drop out from them, and there was not going to be any chance for them to refi. And a lot of clients I saw also bought a place that they were like, well, we'll move in a couple of years. We barely fit in it now, but we just want to get in. And then they were stuck in that same home that they could barely fit in, you know, for years. So, you know, if you are not sure you're going to be in San Diego for 3 to 5 years or ideally even longer, or if you're not sure that you can fit in a 1-bedroom condo or a 2-bedroom, you know, unit for a few years, it may not be the best time to buy.
What you're saying is buy for the long term.
Buy for the long term.
If you buy for the long term in real estate, it always tends to work out.
Exactly.
And you can look at any, you know, 10 to 15 year period and you'll find, like even if you look from the peak of last time until we got back to those same prices this time, it was almost right at 10 years. So it's like, even if you buy at the absolute worst time, if you have at least a 10-year time horizon,
it doesn't matter.
You should be okay.
100%.
Sofia, thank you so much for coming in today.
Yeah.
Great to see you
Thanks.
again. Stick around for more Smarter San Diego TV, where we guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else, commercial free.
What does Zillow's new instant offer mean for you? Let's check in with real estate professional Joe Corbisiero.
Live right now with the Nazo. Joe Corbisiero.
Nazo.
Yeah. Okay, so Joe, congratulations on your recent move.
Thank you.
Realty One.
Boom.
Is the new location.
That's right.
For your office, so we'll put some stuff up on that for the television side, for the Facebook Live side. Today's topic is, Zillow's new instant offer, which I hadn't heard of this yet. You brought this to my attention, and apparently this is some sort of beta test.
That's right.
That Zillow is doing. So can you tell us what it is and why they might be beta testing something like this?
So they started in, I believe, Orlando and Nevada, which they were hit heavily with foreclosures, and they really still did not recuperate as much as we did and any other places in the United States. So they're beta testing this new product they call instant offers. And it's created a huge buzz, man. It's so interesting. It's controversial. I don't know if they actually created a website, Stop Zillow Now. I mean, people are losing their bazooka. It's interesting. Well, I mean, I understand every change creates, of course, even when we had the president and so forth, so controversies, people are not really secure and not really confident of what's going to happen in the future, whatnot. Some of them, which is I think the stupidest thing I've ever heard, they're basically saying Zillow is going to be the new Uber for real estate.
The new, well, what is the instant offer? I mean, what does that even mean? Like, what is the program that everyone's so upset about?
So they're doing this. They're saying, homeowner, if you want, you can put your property as is on Zillow and get an instant offer on Zillow.
Who's making the offer?
So Zillow made a contract with flippers. So there's a pool of flippers that, now they have an agreement with Zillow, but they still have to use an agent to be represented.
Okay.
So an agent is still involved.
Okay.
People didn't get that. They thought it's just between the seller and the
There's
the flipper.
An agent who's working both sides?
Correct. They'll have one agent. The problem is, which is actually great, obviously they're going to be lowballed.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what people don't see. I see potential. People see a problem. The potential is Mr. Seller doesn't know anything about real estate. So it's like, oh, let me see this new gig. Instant offer. So they put a house on instant offer on Zillow. They're probably going to get an offer that's 20% below market value. Do you think that seller is going to take that offer? No. Because the agent is going to be in the between, and Zillow actually is going to ask the agent to provide with a comparable market analysis.
They are.
Correct. So once the seller is going to see the comparable market analysis, like, well, this is not cool. I don't want to have 20% below market value. Here you go. Now you're going to contact an agent to get your house listed.
Okay. So so people are afraid that they're going to sidestep the agents. So what is the idea that Zillow is going to be the Uber of real estate? What is that argument all about?
So, dude, it's funny because I've been reading a lot and listening to podcasts and whatnot. So I don't know if you know, but the creator of Zillow, it's actually the creator of Expedia. Did you know that?
Yeah, I have heard that.
And I think about 12, 13, many years ago, 13 years ago maybe, they started Zillow. So I think the buzz started there because Expedia pretty much eliminated travel agencies, right? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and now they own Orbitz and all these other ones too. If you try to go get a quote on Travelocity or Expedia or Orbitz, it's all the same software. They don't even try to hide it.
That's right.
It's all the same now.
That's right. So they're comparing buying a ticket or get a ride or get Netflix with real estate, which is totally BS. Seriously. Come on. You can get a ride on Uber on your app. If you don't like your driver, for some reasons, you order another Uber, right? If you're on Netflix and you order a movie and you don't like the movie, shut it down, get another movie. It's $2. We're talking about, especially in San Diego, $500,000, $1 million. Do you think it could be a comparable?
I don't, but here's a good question. What is Zillow's end game? Like, why would they do this? How does this help them sell more advertising? How does this help homeowners or home buyers in any way?
So, nowadays, marketing is everything, right? So we're on Facebook, social media, we are Redfin, we have Zillow, we have Trulia, we have all sort of Google pay-per-click or whatnot, right? So if Zillow would just say, well, seller, you can now list the property, now it's creating a buzz. You're going to have more people subscribing, more consumers going towards Zillow. Make sense?
Okay. But the buyers, the traditional buyers, don't have access to these instant offers, right? It's just a certain group of flippers
Correct.
who can make offers.
Correct.
Okay.
And that's something that most of the real estate agents still didn't understand.
Okay.
Okay? So it's not for consumers, regular buyers. It's for flippers that have a contract with Zillow.
Gotcha.
Okay? That's how they started. Is it going to change? We don't know. This is what I know. Apparently, there is in real estate in the nation, we spend an average of $14 billion in marketing, or advertisement, I should say. Zillow has between 4 and 6% of that share. And they want to go up to 10, 15%, from my understanding. They have the capabilities, they have the structure, so that's going to happen. Now, do you think Zillow is going to start fighting real estate agents, which is their bread and butter, to become a brokerage? No.
They could.
No.
They could.
They can't. They won't.
They could.
They won't.
They could.
They could, but they won't. They won't. I'll tell you this much. Why would you change completely something that you've done for the last 12 years, and this year they're netting $1 billion?
Profit?
Yeah.
Really?
I heard they're netting $1 billion. They're set to net $1 billion in 2017.
Why would they change that, is your question? I'll give you the answer.
Yeah.
Because whatever they think they're going to change it to would net them $2 billion. It's all about making more money, right? I mean, so, you know, to say, well, they would never change this because they're doing so well with it. Think about how many companies have made huge changes to their business model thinking that it was a much better move.
Well, this is not just changing the business model. This is changing completely the service they provide.
Yeah.
I mean, they're providing services to us, real estate professionals, that we sign up, we pay for advertisement, therefore we get leads through Zillow. That's the concept. If you eliminate all that, trust me, if they become a brokerage, obviously they're already creating a huge buzz, and there's a ton of MLS and brokerages that they don't want to have their listings syndicated on Zillow anymore because of this. You do understand if that happens, they want to become a brokerage, then I want to say 90% of the brokers, they're going to just get out of Zillow.
Probably.
It's a huge risk.
But if they become a brokerage, they'll have direct feeds to the MLS like Redfin.
I get it, but let's talk about this for a second, okay? I've been in the business overall 10 years, okay, in Italy here. You can't replace an agent in a transaction. I'll give you an example. When you do an inspection, a buyer inspection, if you let seller and buyer just deal with it, it will be a mess. They're never going to close the transaction, man, because buyers have some perspective that a seller don't have. Like, for instance, they go in and they're like, well, now I want the outlet cover fixed. At 10 o'clock at night, they're freaking out. They might send a request for repairs to a seller that's 47 pages because there's a stain on the carpet. They want that removed from the seller. Do you think it's going to be easy to close a transaction like that when you don't have a professional in the middle that can explain things?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm not saying that they're going to eliminate agents. I never said that. I don't think that's their plan.
It's not going to happen.
I think if Zillow started a brokerage, they would have their own agents. Or they would start a brokerage so that they could then get referral fees for leads instead of doing the monthly subscription model that they have now. They would start a brokerage so they could say, hey, we're going to provide you with leads. It's not going to cost you anything, but we're going to only bring on agents who close at high conversion rates, and we're just going to spread it. You know, they could do that. There's a lot of different options that they would have.
Sure.
They could still also, like Redfin, for example, they're a brokerage, but they also have partner agents
that
they refer deals out to. So Zillow could be somewhere in the middle, or they could mirror that model. They could use being a brokerage would help Zillow have options. And so I am not sitting here saying they're never going to be a brokerage. Now, I do think they're always going to want to have their relationships that they've built with their agents to do something with them, whether it's to get referral fees or whether it's to charge monthly subscription fees or whatever. I think that's for sure going to be the case. I think, though, what's going to happen is until they actually do become a brokerage, you're always going to have like this looming, this doom and gloom black cloud hanging over the situation. And every time they pull something like this, because they did Coming Soon, just a few months back, and that had everyone up in arms, and still does to this day because a lot of people are abusing it. So at the end of the day, what is Zillow? Zillow is a tool.
Correct.
It's a tool to help find homes to buy and to sell homes. And what's interesting is that it's a tool that was made for consumers to help agents be more effective and efficient. And now it's become a tool for everybody because agents can use Zillow as a tool.
Of course, I leverage it.
To prospect and to sell.
Absolutely.
Both. So it's changing. Whether you know, whether they want it to change or not, it's changing as time goes on. So the question is, what are they going to let it turn into, or what direction are they going to push it? I think the direction that they're going is the direction of a brokerage, but that's just my opinion.
I don't think so. I mean, I've been reading a lot about it, and it will be, it's one of those things that will be rolling the dice on something that don't know, something they don't know what's going to happen. If they keep it like this and they try to increase their visibility, so they want to be the #1. They already are, but they want to enlarge it even more. The #1 real estate consumer website in the world, okay? They should actually, in my opinion, start looking into elsewhere, like in the world, in Spain, in Italy, which we don't have this kind of tools.
Italy might be tough. They don't really like outsiders.
Yeah, sure, but I mean, this is the thing, man. I believe in something. It's a huge wave. You want to try to fight Zillow, you know? They have billions of dollars on there that they're investing into advertisement. How can you say, oh, it makes me laugh. It's like, I'm not going to syndicate my listing on Zillow anymore. You're doing a disservice to yourself and to your client. That's stupid.
True. That's true.
You can't just fight them. Come on. You can't fight them. What we can do is make sure they understand that the only reason why we subscribe to Zillow and we pay a hefty amount of money every month is because of the advertisement that they provide to consumers. When that's going to change, if it's going to change, like you said, and they become a brokerage, I'm pretty sure that they're going to have some serious problems. I mean, you can't go from a consumer, I would say they're like a matchmaker. They try to put an agent with the consumer. That's what they do.
Consumer safe haven.
Exactly. Now, if you eliminate all that and become a brokerage, that's a totally different concept.
Yeah.
Honestly, I really don't see that happening. I kind of like this instant offer situation is because a lot of sellers are going to have a reality check. You know? They're going to be like, oh, crap, why should I get 20% less of the market value?
That's true. It will sort of reset because a lot of sellers are starting to get a little bit crazy in what they're expecting to get for their homes. Right. So this could help balance that a little bit. Great point, and I'll let you have the last word, Joe.
Well, I will say this to all the fellow colleagues out there and the consumers out there that look on Zillow. Zillow is not an agent. It's a computer-generated Zestimate. It's computer-generated everything. You don't have an expertise that we can have. We actually analyze the market because we're in the market. We're playing the ball in the court. Zillow is not. Okay, so yeah, see what I mean? I'm playing the ball like this. I know what's happening in the market.
And I think that should probably do it. Let's see. I do have a question here from Brandon Mush. So what's up, Brandon? For sale by owner happens all day long and has been happening for such a long time. I see his point, but you either adapt or lose. 100% agree, my friend. All right. Stick around for more Smarter San Diego TV, where we guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else, commercial free.
Most buyers aren't having a lot of luck in this market, and according to our next guest, it's not what you think. Please welcome real estate executive Bryan Devore.
Big Daddy is back. What's up, my man?
Good.
All right, here this is probably the most important topic in San Diego real estate right now is why so many buyers are not being buyers. Consummate a transaction.
There you go. Absolutely, it's pretty crazy. We're in a very, very Wild West kind of market, a market that people said 10 years ago we'd never see again after everything imploded. And obviously, again, just as a precursor, 10 years ago is very different than today. That was a whole different crisis related to something else. But now we have the supply and demand, the basic premise of economics slapping us in the face all over the place.
Yeah.
So yeah, in San Diego, it's rough. The inventory, like the price points 200,000 or below has basically disappeared. It's a sprinkling of that. Then you've got like the 200,000 to 300,000 a little bit better sprinkling, but really I would say the average buyer at this point is somewhere between 500,000 and 600,000. So going back to what we talked about a couple months ago about the theory that at some point in San Diego could be like pre-industrial revolution age, that unless you're wealthy, you're not going to own.
Well,
I don't
San
know.
Francisco.
I'm starting to like, ever since we've had that segment, it's been more and more and more reinforced. And I hear agents daily, I don't know why I can't get my buyer's offer accepted. I don't know why I can't get my buyer in a deal. You got to know what you're doing. I'm not saying those people don't know what they're doing, although there are plenty that don't, unfortunately. And that's something like cautionary tale. Use somebody who knows what they're doing, number one. But number two, the supply is just not there. The demand's there, but the supply is not even close to covering it.
Well, let's talk about, when you say competitive market, you're talking about a competition. The competition is to see who gets to buy the house.
That's correct.
And so there's a lot of different reasons. At the end of the day, the homeowner makes that decision.
That's correct.
They choose which offer to accept.
They do. And in fairness, and this is happening a lot with buyers, there's not a lot of transparency. So no matter what property you submit an offer on, you are almost automatically getting hit back with a multiple counter. And what that means is there's more than one offer on the property. I don't care what property it is. I don't care what agent it is. It's 9 times out of 10 you're going to get a multiple. Like,
is it true though every time?
No, it can't be. It can't be. I wrote on one that had been on market 72 days, no price reduction, no change in anything, nothing, zero. As soon as our offer hit, which was accepted, but it was an aggressive offer, but I get a phone call saying, oh, you know what? We got 2 other offers in at the same time. I don't know. Oh, you know what? We're pulling our offer. And I'd already talked to the buyers about it. I said, just wait, you'll see. So said we're pulling the offer. Hour later, I get a call back from the agent. Seriously, the other offers had disappeared, and they wanted to entertain ours. So really, it goes to the lack of transparency that's there. You've got to really know what you're doing. And in some cases, you're hedging a bet. Some cases, you are. And that doesn't sound, no matter how educated I am or another agent is, or how proficient they are, remember, the home seller is going to make the ultimate decision. There are listing agents such as myself that follow that protocol. The homeowner, seller, is your boss when you have the listing, not the other way around. You're there to advise and help them make proficient decisions. Same thing with the buyers, though. When you're working with the buyers, they're your boss at the end of the day. If they call in and they want to see 6 or 7 properties, you have to be on the stick and get them out there. So as a buyer in today's market, number one, I'm going to tell you honestly, having an agent that is readily available, absolutely proficient, and no matter how busy they are willing to accommodate you. If you can't get that, you need to get a different agent, period. And it almost sounds like everything's on fire, but basically if you want to get into a house and you know it's the house that you want, you better treat it like that, because that house will slip right through your fingers. I mean, things are sitting on market 3, 4, 5 days or less. 3 days meaning 3 days before they get offers in. So as a buyer, you need to watch these ding-dong agents that are out there that will just snag whoever, bring them, not really understand what they're doing, not understand how to write a contract, not understand how to engage in discourse with another agent, and hopefully the other agent is able to engage in discourse with you. But
you have to have a really good feel, though, because to be able to call out that agent, like you said, you noticed that it was on the market 72 days.
No price reduction. No changes.
No reason.
Right.
For that all of a sudden.
What would cause that? But yeah, there would be no precipitating factors to make that change. Had they had a price reduction, had there been something tangible, I would have hedged my bet a little differently. But I just knew it wasn't possible. Okay, wait. In fairness, I have had one of my listings that kind of sat there. I don't know what it was, the building, whatever. But boom, all of a sudden, like 45 days in, same day, 4/20, April 20th, 2 offers came in. So, look, I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but it cannot. And we had also had a price reduction, by the way.
There you go.
So yeah, I was saying, so it's not magic. It's just a matter of really getting somebody that's proficient, somebody's gonna be able to work with you, and also somebody that understands your needs. Like people will come to you and say, no, I'm not going to get pre-approved for a mortgage until I find the house. Well, then you shouldn't be working with that person as an agent. And as a buyer, that's the first thing you should do. You should definitely get pre-approved. Know what you're going to be in for in terms of a payment.
Yeah, because there's nothing that says you have to have a pre-approval
No.
before you write an offer.
No.
And if people are out there writing offers, and then, you know, because I just wonder how many buyers have been screwed by that situation.
Plenty.
Where, oh, we have multiple, you know, offers, you need you to, you know, and they're just
price
like way up there to the maximum they can afford.
Totally. It's squeezing them. It's squeezing them. To me, what pains me the most, and I mean this, is I don't want anybody, look, I want my home sellers to get the most robust offer always, and we do, because we handle the matters right. On the buy side, you have to shift gears. You have to shift gears, you have to shift thinking, but you cannot eliminate that listing agent experience or role that you will have with your other clients. Comes in handy on the buy side, but you can't treat the two the same. You've got to be able to shift. You have to. And as a buyer, you've got to know, like, this is the problem. People are so panicked that they've got to be in the metro area, which is fantastic. That's where a majority of my business is. So you want to be in the metro area. Perfect. Well, that's slim pickings. So the definition of the metro area, basically at this point, is as far out as La Mesa. La Mesa has become a hopping place. And houses are $600,000 and $620,000. I mean, and I'm talking about not anything decent, nice, flip, okay, but not spectacular. It's not a mansion. Sold one in UTC for $830,000. We were like 1950s tract home. It's like, welcome to San Diego. But as a buyer, in that example, you would have thought they were giving the property away. It was insane. And the agents that didn't know, so we had 11 offers. Let's use that as an example. This is a good one. We had 11. So how do you eliminate? How do you eliminate? How do you pick? My goal always is to not multiple. Some people say, oh, you're leaving money on the table by not doing that. No, you're not. What you do is you filter through, look at what the down payment is, which I want to say, just because somebody's putting less than 20% down doesn't matter. If they're approved, they're approved. This is a reason why I'm saying pre-approval is so important up front. And you know, there are some mortgage companies that underwrite you in like 6 hours. Literally, you have a full loan commitment and approval. That's the kind of robust stuff that you need going in. So in this case, because of the number of offers, we were looking at what the down payment was. What were the escrow? Because terms matter. Terms matter. Agents are all focused on price, price, price. That's great. Highest offer, perfect. Highest offer is not always the best offer. It just isn't. So how do you close the gap? How do you make that up? How do you get your offer accepted? By having an agent who's on the stick, who's prepared, who has you prepared as a buyer. So you're pre-approved. You find the house you want. You go through the offers like I was telling you, because I don't think it's fair to the people that have 5 or 10% down.
You counter to the offer that you like the best, to the buyer that you like the best. So you would say, hey, we got a higher offer from someone over here, but if you'll match it, we like you better as the buyer. Is that how you kind of negotiate something like that?
Sort of. As long as everything else makes sense. So terms, like, is there a loan contingency? Okay, by contract, you have 21 days. I'm not tying a seller up for 21 days. No way. So as a buyer's agent, I always tell the buyer, this is why you have to have your financing in order, because we're going to cut your time frames back on your contingencies, which is when your deposit's protected, because you're tying up somebody's property for every day that you're in your due diligence period, your contingency period, you're tying up that seller's property every day. So I don't think it's fair to the seller, and I don't think it's fair to the buyer either, because every day that they're involved in that contract is every day other properties are slipping through their fingers as well. So the terms matter. So you need to cut back contingencies. Do we need to explain those?
No,
okay.
That's good. Yeah,
so the contingencies on there, cut back your loan contingency. Your appraisal, you have a lot of agents now on listings that will be like, oh, we have multiple offers. We're going to take the one that doesn't have an appraisal contingency. What does that signal to somebody right off the bat? So you're the listing agent, you have multiple offers, and you lack that much confidence in the offer you want to accept that you have to have them release their appraisal contingency. That's troublesome to me. That's troublesome, because you're basically saying, we don't care if your buyer overpays. That's their problem, not ours. Going back to the multiple situation, while you're looking at down payment, 5, 10, 15 or more, the higher the down payment, if there's any shortage on an appraisal, which I haven't had, I have not had it, honestly. I've had one in maybe 10 years, but because I know what I'm doing, and I don't just throw an offer in and hope it gets accepted. My offers are aggressive, they're robust, the price is always right in there, or very, I think that's too when you're working with a buyer's agent. If they don't have listing agent experience, I know everybody wants to be a listing agent. I say it's healthy to have both, just so you have experience in both, because you have to shift gears when you're representing a buyer versus a seller. And that's easy enough to do, but like we were saying, highest offer is not always the best offer. So when you have multiples like that on mine, I try to avoid the multiple, only because it's not fair to all those other people that are sitting there, that they get that multiple counter and think like, ooh, we have a chance, when they probably don't. So get rid of the ones that you know aren't going to have a chance. It's not fair to those people. I don't think it's fair. What, you're going to tie somebody up on a multiple and have them go ask family for $100,000 so they can meet your unrealistic needs? Then don't buy that property. Don't do it. Don't do it. Listen to me. Don't get yourself in a bad situation. It will piss me off. I'm serious. I don't want people in a bad situation.
I don't know if you can tell or not, but Bryan can talk. If you would like to hear more from Bryan, Big Daddy Radio.
Yes, it's gonna be.
It's live. It's on Facebook. Just look at Big Daddy Radio live. Just look that up on Facebook. Find the page, like it, and you can hear more from Big Daddy. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thursday at 3, my friend.
Really
appreciate it.
You. Fantastic
you too.
stuff.
All right.
And of course, stick around for more Smarter San Diego TV, where we guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else. Commercial free.
What do you do when your home gets damaged by flood or fire? Let's check in with partner at Fire and Flood Attorneys, Eric Townsend.
Yeah, he's back. Aaron Townsend. What's up, my friend?
Good to see you, Derek.
How you doing, buddy?
Very good.
All right. Looking fresh. I see the new glasses there.
Thank you.
I have mine now.
Yeah, they look good.
So we have that going on.
Yeah, right.
What should someone do when their property gets damaged by fire or flood? This is one of those things that seems to come in waves, right? Like the fires come, and then it becomes a big concern for everyone. Prior to that, it's not. The rains come for weeks at a time, and all this stuff happens, and then it becomes... So this is one of those really timely issues, it seems like. So how can someone learn something from you today about how not to let it be like that?
Absolutely. They do come in waves. The fires are typically covered. Those are usually covered losses. During the rains, they can be covered losses, but it depends on how it happens. There's a couple of things that are excluded from policies unless you specifically ask for that to be included in a policy. Those include floods, seepage, things that, and anything that's happened over a long period of time. So if you have ongoing damage, sometimes those things won't be covered. It's always worth it to look and find out. A lot of claims get denied that aren't really denied claims. So those come up, and we have to go out with our experts and make sure, you know, that it is a covered claim. Figure out how it is a covered claim. And if it's not a covered claim, let the homeowner know so they know what to do. But
Gotcha.
Typically we can get it covered.
Okay.
There's some way.
And so what's that process like? Because essentially these insurance policies are contracts.
Correct.
And in the contract it says, if this, then this, basically.
Yeah.
That's the basic way of looking at it.
Right, that's it.
And what the insurance companies like to do is say, oh, well, the if didn't happen, so the then isn't going to happen. In other words, your claim is illegitimate, so therefore we're not going to pay you for it. Or we're only going to give you this much because of this reason.
Correct.
And what you do is you go in and try to help people figure out, is that really the reality of the situation, and how much compensation should they really get?
That's exactly it. That's precisely it. You actually summed it up perfect for me. That's really good. When you go through and you look at a claim, a homeowner goes through a loss. They have something that's sudden and accidental, happens to the property. Once that happens, once you have that occurrence, you determine whether it's a covered claim. When they're going through the process, any time there's an opportunity for the insurance to deny it, they're going to try to magnify that one aspect that would make it a denial. So what we do is we go in and we look to see if there's other causes, other things that attributed to that. If we can find other causes for the loss, then we can go back in and say, no, this is covered because we had another cause that affected this and caused it. That's kind of a very simplified way of explaining that. The contract itself, there's tons of things. There's several different provisions you have to go through in the contract as an insured, as the actual claimant, to timeframes you have to hit, information you have to provide, cooperating with the insurance company to help them analyze the claim so they understand what it is. There's other things that you have to do, like statements of loss. You have to do a sworn statement of loss to the insurance company. That's usually in the contract. The big things to keep to keep an eye out for in the contract are the statute of limitations. Statute of limitations are usually set by statute, but in some events they'll have a contractual provision that has a shortened period of time. In insurance policies, they have a shortened period of time. It's usually a year, so it's quite a bit shortened. That's in regards to, so if we're talking about a denied claim, that's how you go through with a denied claim. If you have a regular claim where you go through the process and it's something that is covered, insurance comes out and determines, hey, this is a covered claim, this is something that we're going to cover. What happens then is they go through their evaluation. And when they go through their evaluation of the loss, they'll come back with a number, and often that number will be far lower than what is the actual amount that should be paid under that policy.
Gotcha.
So if that policy has a much higher number, you'll never find out because homeowners don't know who to contact, who to get in touch with, to basically put their claim together and put it back in front of the insurance company and say, hey, this is actually what I'm owed. That's where we can step in. Homeowners, when they're going through the process, our main goal is to not slow down the process. We don't want to stop the mitigation. We want them to get going with the repairs. We want all those things to continue going. When we jump into the claim, we can jump in, give a second opinion. If the insurance has already approved another amount, they're going to pay that. They have to pay it within a statutory period. So we can use that money to begin the process. Then when we come in and we contest the value and go for a higher value, that gives us the ability to get more money that's necessary for the repairs.
I see. So in the process of what you're doing, they don't have to necessarily halt everything.
Right.
And now that statute of limitations, is that something that typically would prevent someone, if they're watching this right now, who's like, hey, our insurance, remember when our insurance denied that claim, Yeah. Does that prevent people from like redigging up old cases a lot of times, or do a lot of people come to you who are like, this happened, a year or two ago? What's the deal on that?
It depends. If it happened a year or two ago, but they've been in the process with the insurance company for the last year and a half. So let's say it's 2 years ago that the loss occurred, but for the last year and a half they've been dealing with insurance, which that's not typically the case. But if it did go that long, the period that they're working with the insurance company tolls the actual statute of limitations period.
It does.
Yeah. So you don't have to, if you have a claim and you submit it to the insurance, until there's a final determination on that file, until there's a final determination on that claim, you don't have to worry about that statute of limitations. It tolls during that period.
Gotcha. So only if they were denied and they stopped communicating with the insurance company does that statute start.
Right. Or if there was if they gave a final settlement for the claim.
Okay, saying, hey, here's your $2,000.
Right.
Sign right here.
Exactly.
Then it's over.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Because I have a feeling there's probably, especially from all the rain that we got and there's so much stuff.
Yeah. Rain's interesting too.
Right. It seemed like everyone had a roof leak.
Yeah.
I mean, I can tell you how many people had roof leaks.
Yeah.
It was a legitimate excuse. It's like the dog ate my homework type situation. It's like everyone's like, yeah, I can't make it, roof leak. I mean, I heard that like 10 times.
They're serious. That's when you run into rain comes in through two ways. It's wind driven, and you'll have damage to a part of the house because of the wind driven, because of the wind. The wind causes roof tiles to pop up, creates entry points for water to intrude into the property. That damage that occurs, that roof may be covered. It depends on the policy now it's written. So the damage that's actually caused from the wind might cover the roof. If the roof isn't covered because of age or another reason why it might not be covered, the ensuing damage may still be covered. Probably will still be covered if it's from a roof.
Gotcha.
When you start getting to ground level, when it turns into groundwater is not covered. It's specifically for floods. So unless you have a flood policy, unless you have that endorsement on your policy, you're not going to be covered for groundwater.
I wonder how many people have flood insurance in Southern California.
Not too many.
Dang.
Yeah.
That's something that you should know then. I mean, that's
for sure.
Or I guess some policies have like kind of a catch-all provision of some kind, or like an umbrella provision.
These are the policy. Most policies out there, they're they cover everything except for what's excluded from the policy.
Gotcha.
So they cover any kind of loss that's out there unless it's specifically excluded. So usually earthquake is excluded. Sometimes if you're in a high fire prone area where there's a lot of fires, they may exclude that for fire damage.
Wow.
Yeah, earthquake is another one. Flood, I think I already said that one. Those are some of the things that can be excluded from
Sorry,
policies.
sir, you're in a highly likely area for fire to take place, so we're not going to cover that. How am I getting insurance?
Right. That's the part where you probably will get insurance for it, but you're going to pay a lot of money for it.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
they'll pretty much insure you for just about anything. It's just the actuarial tables and stuff like that. They got to figure out how much to charge you.
Yeah.
And it can be tough too, especially here where for a while there were a lot of companies that were just not issuing homeowner insurance for certain areas,
right?
Because of the fires,
right?
And we had a bad run. We had a bad few years there.
Yeah.
But since then, they really seem to have it under control. When the fires break out, man, they're on top of it.
Yeah.
The response times are shortened. The technology that they're using to fight the fires is better.
Yeah.
But I bet a lot of people are still paying super high premiums.
Absolutely.
As a result of what happened in the past.
Yeah.
Maybe now's a good time to take a look at that. Who knows?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's always good to review your policies with your insurance broker. Insurance brokers are your first line of defense to make sure your policy is written the right way. Most insurance brokers, when you talk to them, you may not even speak to them at all. That insurance broker going through what provisions you have, what coverages you have, it's key, and to know what things are there are really important. Alternative living expenses are important. Most people don't consider those things. You want to make sure you have a good duration of period, a good period of time that they'll cover you if there's a loss. So if you're dispossessed from your house and your coverage is only for 3 months or 6 months, then if the building process, and we know in San Diego getting building permits and going through the whole process can take quite a while. If it goes beyond that period of time, now you run into a problem with ALE, with the alternative living expenses.
And I don't know how much you can say here today. But are there any insurance companies that are a real pain to work with that you can name?
There's some that are, they go through cycles. It's kind of funny.
Really?
I think when they go through their loss provisions and their claims and everything else, I think they adjust over time, and sometimes one will be better than another. I think all the guys that work on the insurance side, they're not out to get anybody, but they're definitely, when they write up the claims, they come up with an opinion of value, and it's a different opinion than what we come up with.
It's a biased opinion, let's say.
It's a bias. It's kind of a biased opinion.
There's a little bit of a conflict there.
It's like, how much is your house worth? Right?
How much is your income worth? Right. But it doesn't matter what it is.
Exactly.
Especially your house, though. Their eyes are getting really big in that regard. Well, Eric,
thanks
for coming on today and shedding some light for us. Really
Thanks,
appreciate
Derek.
your time. Great
Thank
stuff,
you.
Eric Townsend. Stick around for more Smarter San Diego TV, where we guarantee to make you smarter than everyone else. Commercial break. Oh,
Hey, great show, guys. That's a wrap. Jade, what's your schedule look like? Do you mind breaking down the set?
Not today, Derek. I'd love to, but there's waves out there. I gotta go.
No, I can't either. I'm starting to get hangry and have way too much stuff to do today. Claudia, you've got this, right?
Sure, guys. I would love to. I'll get right to work.